Hello, and welcome to the monthly energy update for June 2026. I'm not going to beat around the bush. This month has the opportunity to transform us by letting us choose ourselves in a new way. A key question for this month is, are your beliefs and expectations keeping you safe, or are they keeping you stuck? So by the end of June, I imagine you're going to look back and see a shift within yourself that translates out to your external 3D reality in a way that you're going to feel really empowered by. Again, I'm not going to beat around the bush with this either. I don't know that this transformation, for at least some of us, I don't know that it will come without some challenges, some growth moments, which is what we expect, right? If we're going to step into a new version of self, it means we're going to have to make new choices. And for some of us, change isn't always very easy. If you're the kind of person who rolls with change and embraces it, then you might have a lot of fun with June. But I know that a lot of folks that we connect with here are recovering from people pleasing, perfectionism, shrinking, putting their needs last, and shifting that type of patterning or behavior can be challenging because not only does it ask us to change, which is its own its own complexity, right? But the kind of changes that we make often ruffle the feathers of those we love and care about because it requires us to shift our priorities and values, to move ourselves up a few notches, to let our voice be a little louder and stronger, which can sometimes be surprising to people, even if we're compassionate and clear and letting them know that this change is happening. So, what I would advise you to consider is, what have you felt in the dark about these last few weeks? Some of us, I've heard, on social media, some of us feel as though our spirit teams are hiding a pleasant surprise from us. I do identify with that. And for me personally, it's because I think I have a tendency to try and jump ahead, force things along a little bit. So in a way, it's for my own good so that I don't mess it up. For others of us, it might indicate that there's a deeper level of self-awareness that will be revealed in June. For others, it could be about recovering sacred wisdom, esoteric secrets, lost treasure, or gifts. Whatever flavor this takes for you, and it could be more than one, I would expect some kind of a soft revelation about an enigma that you've been circling, especially if you've been trying to determine, is it this or is it that? Some of that polarized black and white thinking, you are likely going to have an illumination that it is a little bit column A, a little bit column B, because we live in a complex reality and we, like other humans, are complex and nuanced ourselves. With this, I invite you to consider, how do you interpret open space, liminal space, pauses? Do you look at uncertainty as a portal for potential or as an unknown to fear? Do you see it as a womb that can birth the new, or as something that is bound to collapse in on itself? If this is speaking to you, know that you do not benefit by running from, avoiding, or hiding from your fears. If fears, limiting beliefs, and revelations about how you handle the unknown come up for you in a way that you're like, ooh, I don't tend to see them as opportunistic or in an optimistic way, that's okay. Instead of fearing that self-understanding, acknowledge it. Celebrate the fact that you are willing to look at that aspect of yourself, because so many human beings on earth would say, no, I'm not even willing to look at it. If you can look at it, you can hold it, you can feel it. And by feeling it and allowing that to show up in your body, that's what allows it to start fleshing out, whatever the phrase is, in a way that benefits you. When we feel overwhelm and anxiety, it's because there's a message that is trying to come through from our body. Remember, the body is so intelligent. Many of us are drawn to spirituality, personal development, and self-mastery because we think there might be a secret rule book that allows us to continuously see the future. Now, of course, many of us have gifts of clairvoyance, clairsentience, what have you, and we might get inklings about what is most likely to transpire. But if you're part of this collective, it is very likely that you feel as though no matter how long you sit in meditation, no matter what strategy or process you run, it's feeling challenging to tap into future timelines right now. And that is by design. It is by design because being blocked from seeing, feeling, knowing the future is what forces us to be in the present moment and to find a way to trust ourselves, to make choices, even if we don't have more information available to us. So don't run from fear. Acknowledge the wisdom of your body. Interpret overwhelm, uncertainty as either a really fun and exciting new horizon, a womb of birth, or acknowledge that tendency to interpret it negatively and let that move through and run its course by feeling the fear and allowing it to speak to you instead of trying to shove it in a box. That's the overarching theme for June. Now we're going to break this down into the 4 weeks of the month so that you have sort of a game plan to run with for each week. The first week of June really asks us to pull back and see things from a higher vantage point. A lot of us have a tendency, because of how the backs of our brains work, the hippocampus, the oldest parts of our brain, we are trained to look for patterns and assume that when we see a similar pattern, when we see a similar communication style, a similar approach, even though they're a completely different person or a completely different scenario, our brain wants to say, well, if this is similar, I should expect the same results, in which case I'm just going to run. I'm not going to deal with this. I'm going to go the complete other way instead of staying present with what's actually before you. Who's actually speaking to you now? How are they actually behaving when you collaborate with them, when you work with them? This is all about, in week 1 of June, choosing assumptions, stories, expectations, and narratives that benefit you, even if you don't have the rationale for how that's going to come to be, even if you're not certain whether that other person is going to follow through. Of course, do this with discernment. This is not advice for toxic or abusive situations. However, this is for you if you have found yourself in a pattern where it's like, I just keep hitting the same stagnancy, the same inertia. I know that I need to trust more or have more faith, but I'm having trouble doing it. Week 1 of June, it's a push month for you. It's a push month for you, not in terms of doing more action or being more productive. It's a push week for you in your mental space. Some physical and somatic practices that can stimulate this new type of belief and behavior in week 1 are yin yoga, where you have the option to relax into and surrender into a pose instead of forcing, as well as any movements or poses that place you in an inversion. Anything where you can get upside down, where you physically get to embody seeing things from a new perspective. With that release of hypervigilance and surveillance behavior in week 1, we cross the threshold into week 2, where we really start to burn away or compost those beliefs that we recognize like, oh, now that I've literally put myself upside down, now that I've literally surrendered into the present moment, I can see how my own story, my own expectations are undermining me and sabotaging me, and I'm ready to clear that out. There are all sorts of visualization practices that can benefit you in the week of June, the second week of June, It might be burning something away physically. You might imagine water flushing through your body, your energetic body a few times a day to clear this out. What I would recommend across the board is a practice where you draw a line down the center of a piece of paper, and on the left you have some old beliefs. Choose 5 to 10, don't overwhelm yourself. And on the right side of the column you write new belief. So this might be something like, the old belief is I have to shrink myself and be palatable in order to be accepted and loved. On the right side, in the new belief, we're going to literally reprogram that to I make lasting friendships and partnerships by showing up in my authentic, multifaceted nature. Okay? This is a practice of rewriting old dogmas into new truths that actually serve us. With that inverting of our perspective and clearing out what's no longer serving, we step into what feels like the beginning of the uprise in week 3. This is not to say that week 1 and 2 are going to be terribly difficult or traumatic. You might uncover some things that feel a little murky, but they don't have to be bad weeks, okay? Week 3, though, is about reclaiming self-respect and self-satisfaction. This is very much like, I am who I am and I don't give a damn. It's dastardly acceptance, okay? It's that person you know who's like, well, I am who I am. We all have that friend where you're just like, wow, you just are who you are. You don't apologize for it. Now, we want to choose role models that do this in a way that is still kind and compassionate to other people, but without completely changing the formula of who they are just to be part of the in crowd. This is really in week 3 about finding a form of confidence that is true to you instead of seeking external validation. I'm gonna be honest, in May, I had some personal moments where I tried to exude some confidence and I flew a little too close to the sun. I got a little out of pocket when I didn't need to. And it's not because speaking up is bad. It's because I was speaking out of turn. I was speaking on things that I really didn't know that much about. Okay? I was trying to convince people of things that they didn't need convincing on. They didn't ask me. Week 3 of June, though, is going to be that healthy confidence where we say, okay, if I'm approached, if I'm asked, if the moment feels right, if I know this is about something that I have a strong perspective on, I'm going to speak on it. And if I don't feel invited, if I don't feel that true impetus, that grounded alignment to come forward, then I'm going to hang back. And that's okay. Week 3, somatic practices, fascia release, and wearing something unusual or unique just because you like it, just because it feels good. Okay. Week 4, this is where we start to really embrace the transformation. We start to feel that reharmonization within ourselves as well as in our relationships. And it's because we respected ourselves enough to choose ourselves, to choose aligned beliefs, and to choose to believe in our own power, right? In a way that is empowering for us as well as others. Instead of continuing to choose the old narratives of quote unquote safety that were really keeping us stuck in stagnancy, we start to evolve and see ourselves surrounded by friends and collaborators who actually respect us for who we are, instead of collapsing into old patterns of shrinking, people pleasing, dictating, or codependence. Homework, should you choose to accept it, go to karaoke. Belt it loud. Don't try to sound good. Just enjoy yourself. All the more powerful if you can do it with a few friends. But, if this ends up looking more like driving down the road with your windows down, yelling at the top of your lungs, also valid. Also a valid way to execute this. So that is what June is looking like. It feels a little bit more like a fiery energy, whereas May felt a little bit like quick moving air. There's a clearing out as well as a tending to a flame that we want to grow. So I hope that this is helpful for you. Please let me know in the comments what resonated for you, any questions you have, and I am sending you nothing but a big round of applause for being willing to look at these beliefs and narratives, because I know it's going to benefit you, those around you, and the collective transformation that we are all looking to usher in. Take very good care.